let's talk about for sale by owners. For sale by owners, also known as FSBOs, FSBO, for sale by owner, are properties that the owner puts up for sale without an agent or an agency. You know when you drive by and you see a property that says for sale by owner in front of a property? The for sale by owners, most of the time, those people don't want to use a real estate agent because they don't want to pay the commission. Okay? So how do you approach a client or a prospect client that wants to sell their property but they don't want to talk to you because they know they're going to have to pay a commission and they're trying to save that money? How do you discourage them from selling them themselves as opposed to using you as a resource? I would suggest that this is one of the easiest ways to get listings. Why? Because you already know these people want to sell. And you already know they're not going to sell it as fast because they only expect it to people who drive by or walk by their property to be able to buy it. As opposed when they list it with us, we put it in the open market and you have thousands of people looking at this property. There's two basic things you can say to them. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, when you have people interested in your property, somebody walks by your property, anybody, and they say they want to see it because they're interested. How do you know they're really approved to buy your house? How do you know that the people who are trying to get into your house are not thieves, trying to see if you have a security system and they're not going to come back and try to steal from you? Are you going to let anyone walking on the street come in and see your house where you have your family? Isn't that enough reason to discourage people to sell on their own? Then also, how do you know they're qualified? If you list it with a real estate agent like myself, you know that every person that comes through that door is going to come with a real estate agent who did a criminal background check, took a test, and is qualified to sell your house. Not only the person that will come with that agent is already been pre-approved to make sure they qualify to buy your property. Would you like to list it with me? And don't you think this is enough reason to convince that seller to allow you to list the property? And then you talk about commission. But then we already talked in another module about how to negotiate commissions, right? And then as long as you have an in, you have a big chance of getting the listing. So these are for sale by owners. Now, you may also be approached by a buyer who was driving by, saw a property up for sale, and then approached the seller directly. Then if that buyer brings you this seller, what you can do is, hey, who's going to pay the commission? The buyer or the seller? You try to throw it on the seller. And how do you tell the seller that you can earn your commission? Well, I can charge you 6%, but I'm going to give you a discount, 5%. No, that's too high. 4%. But remember, you're getting 4% on a deal where you're only going to get 3%. So negotiate your commission to where you can make as much money as you can from the two sides. If your seller is adamant about not paying commission, then you're going to have to get your buyer to pay for it. In a market where it's a buyer's market, the seller most likely will be willing to pay the commission. If it's an even market, you can try to talk them into splitting it. If it's a seller's market, the seller is not going to want to pay the commission. Okay?